Let's push back on some academic silliness. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. I love this stuff, dude. Because, look, I'm just a caveman financial planner. I don't understand your ways, especially if you're in academia. I just got my t-shirt on. I got stuff, make sure I don't have stuff in my face from when I just got done eating my pork chops. I just put it off the grill. Pearly yellows, nothing on my teeth there. No, I'm looking all right. So, but I mean, I'm just a caveman. These guys are on the ivory tower. They're academics. They know stuff that you and I can't. So I saw this. So I spent about a month ago, I spent about a week bashing my man, Edward McQuarrie, who I like, and he's big lib, but I like him. I think he's a good guy. He's done some great research on investing, which I think is absolutely must read. For some reason, he's thrown his flag in with this guy named William Bernstein. I don't get it. I've never liked that guy. He very rarely does he write anything of what I think is anything worth reading. But, because he's an academic and I think he's like a neurologist or something like that, all kinds of financial planners think he's so smart. The difference between them and me, though, of course, is that I'm actually boots on the ground. I've been working with people since 1998. So unlike the academics in their ivory tower, I actually get to see what real life people are going through. All right. And as such, that's the difference. When you're an academic, in fact, my man, what the hell's his name? Derek Tharp was just posted something on Facebook today, which I thought was pretty interesting. Talked about the efficiencies and the utilities and all this, and basically challenging some of the academics, saying, "Look, man, I get the idea of efficiencies, rational behavior, and all this, kind of like the stupidity behind behavioral economics." And he didn't say that. I am. But he's like, I get it from your academic perspective, but that's not really what real world is. And that's 100%, man. I could not agree more with what Derek said. Anyway, so the point being is, I saw this article from these guys. I just said, dude, I was like, man, I thought you were going to... Because no one was talking about the widow's tax trap before I came around. No one was. The widow's tax hit debunked. Now, I'm not saying they did it, but for me, my YouTube channel isn't very big, I grant you. There's other guys that had bigger impact on YouTube than I have. At the end of the day, though, I did write a book on this, and let's take a look at the book. I haven't looked at let's take a look here. Let me pause this real quick. All right, so we're going to type in Josh Scanlon books. We got my most recent one, Social Security, right here, tax bomb and retirement account. All right, gotcha. So that's the one right there. We're going to click on this guy. Boink. And that man's going 7 years old now, huh? Jeez Louise and blue cheese. I got 551 ratings. That's pretty good, man. That's and 161 on good. So that's fantastic. That is fantastic. That's, for a little guy in his t-shirt, that's pretty good. Look at all his comments. So lots of good comments on that. Useful for some. Viva Roth IRA, that's what that guy says. He wrote that. A great wake-up call, half full. Life-changing, yeah, right on, man. Ralph Aguiar says, if you look for a quick start, right on, man. Good stuff. Anyway, so look, this book has sold a bunch. I mean, I've made thousands of dollars. Yeah, I guess thousands of dollars on it. So, I'm not an academic, but this book is meaningful because we talk about the widow's tax trap. Absolutely. So what these guys say here, I can't believe it, man. I'm just like, this is a good guy. What's he doing, man? What are you doing, Ed? So check this out. A time-honored example is that the tax hit that awaits the widowed survivor. As everyone knows, most tax brackets for singles are half as wide as those for married couples. And then what they say here is they're trying to say we're appealing to people's fear about paying more taxes. And it follows that the widowed survivor will pay twice as much tax and live on only half as well if something is not done, like a Roth conversion or life insurance. This idiot, dude, why do these guys keep doing straw men? Show me the evidence of any financial planner saying that, Ed McQuarrie and your boy there, William Bernstein. This is a straw man. A straw man is I'm setting up a false argument so I can tear it down and make my opponent look like an idiot. And this is the fact that academics do this drives me up the wall, man. I'm like, just argue on right terms. Again, it follows that the widowed survivor will pay twice as much tax and live on only half as well if something is not done. Where is the evidence of anyone ever saying that? And then he says, does this fear have a rational basis, or is it just a sales pitch cleverly designed to tap into clients' emotions, exploit the human incapacity to do math, and leverage the widespread innumeracy of our age? I.e., basically, you're just taking advantage of stupid people is what they're saying. It's kind of like, again, as we talked about before, the guy from MIT, I'm drawing a blank what that guy is, the stupidity of the American people. What the hell is that guy's name is? Jonathan Gruber, the economist who designed Obamacare. We got to rely on the stupidity of the American people. So William Bernstein and my man Ed Macquarie are saying that right here. We exploit the human incapacity to do math and leverage the widespread innumeracy of our age. This is also gender territory, for the fear targets husbands or the traditional breadwinner who are its preferential target. Again, you don't know that, you have no clue what you're talking about. You don't know. You're just putting this against straw man. Our numerical analysis will be gender neutral. That doesn't change the social facts about how and whom this fear is employed. All right. So anyway, math errors. Twice as much in tax, live half as well. Well, that's a straw man and a silly argument. So anyway, we're just going to ground this stupid case study. So what they got right here is they say, here's an ordinary income for a couple, and then you see the ordinary income for Mary. So Mary is now a widow. The couple is married finally jointly. They got taxable Social Security right here. We got a total AGI of 178 for the couple and 146 for Mary. All right, we can see, go through those right here. Disposable income, the difference here is that Mary has, what's that, $42,000 less of disposable income, and she pays a little bit more in tax. And that is a widow's tax trap, unequivocally. But it gets much worse. That is a widow's tax trap. The widow's tax trap encompasses not only the increase in tax, but the reduction in income that she has as well. No one would say she lives on half as much. It's freaking an idiotic argument to say that. No one's saying that. These guys are being silly here to say that. We would say that. No one says that. On top of that, she does pay more tax. That is a widow's tax trap. She pays more tax on less income. I don't know how anyone could deny that. Now, what they'll say is, well, yeah, but they also got to pay less right here, post-tax, post-medical spending. Look, 153 versus 118. So Mary's still living off 118 versus 153 when they're married finally jointly. And they say Mary pays a grand total of basically $2,000 more in income tax. Well, we're talking about right here just federal tax, but we're going to get into it a little bit more detail here in just a second. She pays $2,600 extra Medicare taxes because she has IRMA, but she does save $7,000 in medical expenses. All right, well, be it as it may, she pays more tax, has less income. That's just a fact. All right. Anyway, the point I want to point out to you, though, this case isn't what we talk about in my book here. All right, so why? Let's take a look here. All right, so the percentage of households above 65 who have income above 125 is 17%. All right, so we got Mary right here. She has total income of 146 when they were married, 178. And so you can see right here, just 17% of U.S. households over 65 have income above 125. Let's ask Grok, how about over 150? About over 150K. All right, so they're already in rarefied air what these guys are working. About 12% of U.S. households have income over 150. All right, so we're starting right there. We got 178 for married. We got 150 roughly for Mary as a widow. All right, so it gets worse, though. So check this out. The median household income for people right here, the median income for these households over 65 years old is $54,000. The median household income is $54,000 for people over 65. So where does the widow's tax trap come in? Well, if we look at my book here, this is chapter 4, how one widow paid $9,623 in tax while another paid $0. And that's literally chapter 4 right there. Now I'm going to do an upgrade of this book here too to include Obamacare and everything like that, because I think a lot of people, I published this in 2018, 17, before the Obamacare is really sacrosanct or sanctified, if you will. And I just, right here, I'm not going to get to it here, but you can see right there, and I show you the charts and all this right here, taxable IRA distributions, we talk all about that. But wait, there's more. Ever since John died, Judy had wanted to take her daughter on a month-long cruise. No time like the present, she said, so she takes an IRA distribution of $50,000 to pay for the cruise. Much fun was had. But smiles turn to frown when Judy gets a call from her tax guy the following year. She owes almost $10,000 in federal income tax, nearly $7,000 more than the year before, even though the increase in her gross income is only $20,000. Her income went up by $20,000, a 33% increase, but her taxes went up by $7,000, a 250% increase. How does this happen? This is where we talk about provisional income. Provisional income. And we get into it about long-term capital gains, qualified dividends, the whole thing as well, not being subject to IRMA, all that stuff we talk about. And this, look, I think it's number of pages. There's only like 75 pages or something like that. 74 pages. Yeah, 74 pages right there. So that's the widow's tax trap. No one sitting there, no one in the right mind would say you have less than half. You have half of what your income for what your husband did. That's a stupid thing to say. And the reason we know that right out the gate, why? Well, because you're going to lose the lower of the two Social Securities. So you're going to gain the higher of the two, and you're going to lose the lower, which inherently means you're not losing half your income right there alone. You still have the RMDs unless your husband left it to somebody else. Maybe you got a freaking you floozy out there, freaking the pool girl, and you gave it to the pool girl. Well, you still, if you're a beneficiary, you still gonna have the RMDs. It's an idiotic thing to say. I hate this, where people attack my business, the people in my business, especially from academia. It's pure, it's jealousy. I don't know what else it could be. It's pure jealousy. Are there idiots in my business? Sure. There are idiots everywhere, dude. There's idiots in the freaking Trump White House right now. You know, Joe Biden, our president, was a freaking, Kamala, our vice president, was the biggest idiot we've ever seen since freaking, I don't know, since day one. I mean, she's dumb, just dumb as rocks. You know what I'm saying? Joe Biden, I mean, was he stupid? Yeah, he was stupid too. Obama probably wasn't so stupid. You know, George W. Bush wasn't the brightest bulb, but you know, at the end of the day, I mean, we've had idiots in our in all over our society. But for some reason, these guys just focus on financial planners like we're stupid because they say, oh, I'm a professor emeritus at Santa Clara, and I'm a neurosurgeon or whatever the hell it is, neurobiologist. And we're also like, oh, you know, it's the appeal to the authority fallacy. So we got the straw man fallacy, the appeal to authority fallacy, and you know, the idea like these people are just dumb in math or being sold a scare tactic. No one is talking about that right there. What we're talking about the people with $150,000. But I mean, you could say we're talking about it, but the vast majority of people, I would not be. I'd be talking about the middle income people who get hit with the widow's tax trap unequivocally. And to ignore that, it just means you're not operating on a level. You're not. You're pushing propaganda, and I hate people when they push propaganda, when they lie about it. It drives me insane. All right, especially my business, man, because you're hurting people financially. Like I said in my video on Jonathan Clements the other day, God bless Jonathan Clements. You know, he's R.I.P. But some of the stuff he had written will hurt people financially. That's just a fact. He was more beneficial than negative. But if you're 75% beneficial, it still means you're 25% negative, and that's what he was. And I just wish he would have not been so negative on some things, even though he was better for it. He brought more good to this world than bad, but still, it's like, man, a number of people still listened to him and said, I'm going to run out of money in retirement because this is what Jonathan Clements said, if not based on any evidence at all. All right, God bless. Smash that like button.